Welcome to Lesson 1, Introduction to Advanced Navigational Features. Photoshop's advanced tools help you build realistic imagery quickly and professionally. In this lesson, you find out how to use the workspace to work as efficiently as possible. I'm going to provide you with some tips and tricks to help you navigate the workspace that hopefully you can use throughout the rest of the lessons. Notice that I have the Zoom tool selected down here on the Tools panel. I'm going to change this to 2-column to bring this up a little bit further. As a default, Scrubby Zoom is checked on up here in the options bar. And when Scrubby Zoom is turned on, you just click and you can zoom by dragging. Now, if you prefer that method of zooming in, it is rather quick and easy. Or the other method is to uncheck Scrubby Zoom and then click and drag a marquee area of exactly where you want to zoom into. Now let me review the other zooming tips and tricks that you can take advantage of. I have just zoomed in, and if I press Command or Control 0, I can zoom back to fit in window. I can also press Command or Control minus to zoom back and forth. Now some other helpful tips: if you hold down your spacebar and your Command key or your Control key, you can have the zoom tool available to you at any time, and then you can click and drag. So for instance, if I zoom back out by pressing Command or Control 0, and then I decide I'm going to take the paintbrush, I'll sample this color out here by holding down my Option or Alt key, and then I'll change the blending mode, maybe make it darken, make my brush a little bigger by pressing the right bracket, and you don't have to remember any of these. I'm just telling you what you're going to learn throughout the rest of the lessons. But I start painting, and then I decide that I want to zoom in to see this a little better. I don't have to leave the brush tool. I can simply hold down the space bar and my Command or Control key, and then click and drag, and then as soon as I release, I'm back to painting again. Now I'm pressing Command Z because I happen to be on a Mac right now. You can press Control Z to undo, and you can also press Command Option Z or Control Alt Z to undo again. I'm pressing Command 0 to zoom back out. Now other ways you can zoom are by taking advantage of something that's called the Navigator. And so if you select Window Navigator, you'll see a little preview, which is kind of useless at that size, but I can extend it to make it a little bit bigger. And you'll notice that if I take my zoom tool, or if I happen to zoom in any way I want, you'll see a little red proxy square here that indicates what I'm looking at. And I can drag that around so that I can see the entire image, but yet work in detail if I want to. I can also zoom in or out using the slider here. Now there's another thing I just want to mention to you. You can see I have rulers up here. I'm going to press Command or Control R, and you'll see that that toggles those rulers off and on. And if I right-click on the ruler, I can choose the measurement system that I want to use. In this case, I'll just leave it at pixels. If I select Photoshop, Preferences, or if you're on the PC, Edit Preferences, and then go into Guides, Grids, and Slices, I can even set up guidelines and grid lines to help me to align things as well. So for instance, I'll come in here and set my grid line for pixels, and I'll say every 20 pixels, I want a grid line. And I want 4 subdivisions, giving me a 5-pixel little square. Now when I click OK, I do not see them until I turn them off or on. So for instance, to turn them on, I can press the Command double quote. Or if you're on the PC, you press Control double quote. So you can toggle them off and on. Now I'm pressing Command or Control 0, and I'm going over to turn on a layer. And you'll notice that I can select this layer over in the Layers panel and move this text so it aligns with the guides. Perhaps I'm trying to align it with another object or a shape or another line of text. If you like, you can also click on the rulers and pull out guides from either the left or right, or if I want to pull it down from the top in a specific spot, I can pull it down, hold down my Option or Alt key, and it turns from horizontal to vertical. Now by pressing Command or Control semicolon, I can turn off those guides. So I'm going to turn those off, and then I'm pressing Command double quote to turn off the grid as well. Now there's one more thing I want to show you. If I select Edit and go all the way down to the bottom, I could also set up keyboard shortcuts. The great thing is that I can select items that don't already have a keyboard shortcut. So if I click on Edit, for instance, that represents the items that are under the Edit menu. And I can scroll down and I can see that check spelling doesn't have a keyboard shortcut. And maybe I do a lot of work with text and I want it to have a keyboard shortcut. I can click in the column under Shortcut and I can select a combination of keys or use one of my function keys. And you'll notice that I'm assigning F10, which you have to be careful of. You want to make sure you don't select something that you've already assigned to something else. And then I can click on Accept. And okay, now if I simply press F10, you'll see that I have a spell check turn on. And I can choose to turn on the layer that has a misspelled word, or I can just skip it at this point. I can also go under Edit, Keyboard Shortcuts, and if I want to print these out, I can save this set, and I'll just call this My Set. And then I can click on Summarize, choose where I want to put my summary, click OK, and you'll notice that if I go back to my desktop, that I have my set here, and then I can open up my set using any text editor and print out or save as a PDF or any way you want all the keyboard shortcuts that you want to use. So in this lesson, you discovered how to navigate the Photoshop Creative Cloud workspace.